Virginia now, the Episcopal Diocese of Virginia. And we've actually done some hiring very recently, and that unfortunately has come to an end, but it is out there. And so as we did these things, I saw some things happen. We were interviewing a lot of folks who were not much older than you, and one of the key things was act like you want the job you're actually interviewing for. I had a guy come in and say, yeah, I'm really thinking about being a lawyer, but it'd be cool to work here. Thank you. The interview over. I mean, I was polite, but the interview was over at that point because I've got things to do, and he didn't show any. I've heard people talk about vocation or passion. If you're going to work for the church, you really need that, and you kind of really need it to do anything if you're going to get up every day for 8 hours and do that. You talk about doing your research both long-term and short-term. Bring up something you read in the paper about the company in the last week, if that's possible. Dressing for success is true. At a law firm, yeah, you wear a suit and a tie. At Microsoft in Seattle, if you're a software developer, you wear flip-flops and a Maserati. So it doesn't vary. It really depends, and the offices are very, very different. Second big tip is talk about what you can do for me. There's a real sense of, well, I'd really like to work here because I think it would be really interesting for my niece because I'm really interested in moving into this career, and I really think the experience would be great developing me. As the employer, I don't care about that. I think you're a lovely person. I think well of you. I want to know what you can do for me. So think about it from that point of view. And these are all things I've seen recently. Don't self-destruct. Make sure you don't have a typo. It just kills you. It really, especially in this market. It's an easy way for someone to say, nope, and that's that. Two scenarios. Be prepared to take the lead in an interview that goes badly. When I was interviewing law firms, some lawyers are outgoing, and some of you may have parents who are lawyers. They're outgoing and they talk a lot and they're fun to talk to. Some of them, frankly, are not. A lot of them do tax law. And those tax lawyers who are friends of mine, a lot of them, after about 5 minutes, they're kind of done. They've made their decision and they're really introverted. That's where you take the lead in the interview, and you don't do it unless you have to. But get them to talk about themselves. There's nothing anyone wants to do more than talk about how great they are. Or did you like it's on the wall. Like, did you like W&L Law School? How was that for you? How did you like Chapel Hill? Gee, they play basketball there, don't they? Something. So how, where Tim Tebow's prospects?
Yeah, that's where Tim Tebow is.
Yeah, I think that's right. Tim's on the curling team. Also be prepared, and I have done this, to recover from the idiot move. You're going to make the idiot move. Mine was sitting there. I went to William & Mary Law School. I was sitting across from a guy named Dabney Carr, who we're now friends, who I had forgotten during the interview. I knew he'd gone to UVA Law. That's what I'd focused on, where they went to law school. He'd gone to William & Mary undergraduate and thought well of the institution. Where, if you decide to go to law school, it is often hard to think well of that institution while you're there. Law school is not fun. College is fun. Law school is generally not fun. And so he said, well, how do you like William & Mary? I was like, well, actually, not that much. There are a lot of tourists. They get in the way when I'm trying to get to class because it's Colonial Williamsburg, and there's lots of, it's a grind, and I just don't like the town. He goes, well, I went to undergraduate there. I guess it's different. I was just like, it is different, and I bet it was wonderful as a young man. I feel, frankly, a little robbed that I didn't have that experience because when you go back, I was like backpedaling, and he brought it up later, but be careful. My personal favorite is a law school classmate of mine who interviewed at CarMax. At CarMax, when you interview, the first thing you do is produce a specimen for a drug test. Immediately, you walk into the room, they hand you the cup, you produce. He was in the elevator with a Fortune 500 company, female general counsel, and he said on the elevator ride up to our level to interview with other people, wow, you don't really take that pee in the cup thing seriously, don't you? She looked at him and started laughing and came in and said, I have to hire him today. That's a high-risk move. And if you ever meet him, you'll know he's the kind of guy who can pull it off. I am not. And so, as you all can already tell. So I think beware of that. You're going to screw up in your interview. You're going to say something you think, oh, but be prepared to figure out a way to flip it around. Lastly, in our office, there's the bishop secretary rule. The bishop secretary for 25 years is a woman named Karen Velasco. And for 22 of those years, we hired young men, because we had a male bishop and you spend long hours late at night with the bishop, and that's a little awkward for the church when you're a young female doing that, so we hired young men to drive him around the diocese. And she said about 3 or 4 of us were Sewanee people. I was one, J.T. Thomas, who's the headmaster of St. Andrew Sewanee, is one. There's some others who are more recent. She said, you know, there's something about you Sewanee guys. We've had WNL, we've had UVA, we've had this, that, and the other, but there's something about you Sewanee guys. You really do have a certain charm to you. And all of you seem to end up okay. And I think there's something, you hear a lot about Sewanee's unique and all that stuff. It really is. And I think there's something that comes from getting stuck up here in the fog all those weeks, having to deal with people like Jake Harper, that really does make it very special. And I hope that you'll use that.